Have you ever experienced a moment in your life where everything you thought you knew suddenly feels different? Where the world you once understood, the routines you were so comfortable with, and even your sense of self seemed to shift overnight. That feeling, that sudden jolt, is not just coincidence. For some, it's the universe nudging you. For others, it's the encounter that changes everything. A meeting so profound that it flips your life 180 degrees. This is what many call a twin flame activation. Picture this. You are walking through life day after day, in the familiar rhythm of work, obligations, and small comforts. You know who you are, what you like, and where you're heading. You feel safe in your predictable life. Yet perhaps there's a lingering sense of something is missing. You push it aside, convincing yourself that life is fine the way it is. But deep down, a quiet whisper asks, "Am I really living my fullest potential?" Then suddenly they appear. At first, it might seem like just another person crossing your path. Maybe it's someone you meet at work, a chance encounter in a cafe, or even a friend of a friend. But there's something about them, something subtle yet undeniable, that grabs your attention. Their presence lingers long after they leave. You catch yourself thinking about them in the quiet moments, and every interaction, even the briefest, seems charged with energy. And then it hits you. It's not just curiosity or attraction. There's a deep, inexplicable resonance. Your soul recognizes something familiar, something it has been seeking unconsciously for years. This is the moment your life begins to change. Every choice, every priority, every habit suddenly feels out of alignment with who you are becoming. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that your career, the very thing you devoted yourself to, no longer sparks joy. That hobby you spent hours on suddenly feels meaningless. Even the relationships you once cherished, friends, family, or partners, start to feel different. Some drift away, some challenge you, and some deepen in ways you never expected. You might ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? What is happening to me? Why do I suddenly question everything I thought I knew? This is the essence of twin flame activation. It's a process that doesn't just touch your heart. It shakes the very foundation of your existence. It forces you to confront who you truly are, not who you've been conditioned to be. It pulls back the veil on your deepest desires, fears, and unresolved wounds. And yet, this transformation is not always comfortable. In fact, it can feel disorienting, even painful. Because when a twin flame enters your life, the universe doesn't just hand you a new relationship. It hands you a mirror, a reflection of your most authentic self, and simultaneously, the parts of yourself you've ignored or suppressed. You may notice sudden bursts of emotion, moments of profound joy, tears for no apparent reason, an overwhelming sense of clarity, followed by confusion. You may feel drawn to new ideas, new places, or new people. Your intuition sharpens, your dreams become vivid, and the synchronicities, those uncanny coincidences, start appearing everywhere. A song lyric, a street sign, a random conversation, all seem to carry hidden messages meant just for you. Have you ever met someone and felt an instant deep connection, so strong that it seemed like your souls had known each other before? That's the energy of a twin flame encounter. It's a signal that something bigger than the ordinary is unfolding. You are being called to awaken, to step into a version of yourself that you may have never imagined existed. Consider this scenario. You are sitting in your favorite cafe, sipping your coffee, scrolling mindlessly through your phone, when someone walks by. Your eyes meet for just a second, and yet it feels like 1,000 unspoken words are exchanged. You can't explain why, but your chest tightens, your heart races, and your mind feels both alive and confused. Later, you replay the moment in your head, wondering if it was real or imagined. Days go by, but the memory lingers. Little by little, your thoughts revolve around that fleeting encounter. This is how the activation begins, subtle, yet undeniable. But what makes this meeting different from ordinary relationships? Unlike casual connections, a twin flame encounter resets your internal compass. Suddenly, the life you once considered normal feels incomplete. You are confronted with questions that shake your core. Am I living true to myself? Am I holding on to the past too tightly? What do I really desire from life, love, and my soul's purpose? It's as if the universe is whispering, it's time to remember who you are. It's time to evolve. And here's the most fascinating part. You are not just changing your perspective. Your entire life trajectory begins to shift. The things that once mattered, the security, approval, or validation from others, start losing their grip on you. You become more aligned with your passions, more honest in your relationships, and more aware of the energy you bring into every moment. It is a complete recalibration of your mind, heart, and spirit. Some people describe it as waking up from a long, deep sleep. You remember who you are at a soul level, and you realize that life is no longer a series of random events. Everything is connected. Everything has meaning. Even the challenges, heartbreaks, and past mistakes now serve a purpose. They are stepping stones guiding you toward your authentic self. Yet, while the experience is transformative, it is also deeply personal. No one else can feel it exactly as you do. No one else can walk your journey for you. You might feel isolated, misunderstood, or overwhelmed by the intensity of your emotions. But this is precisely the process. Shedding old layers, dissolving illusions, and reclaiming your true identity. So, as you watch this video and begin exploring the layers of twin flame activation, keep this in mind. What you are about to learn is not just about meeting a person, it's about awakening to yourself. It is about understanding why, after encountering your twin flame, your life doesn't feel the same anymore. It is about embracing the reset, the recalibration, and the profound transformation that follows. In the chapters ahead, we will dive deeper into the emotional, mental, and spiritual dimensions of twin flame activation. We'll explore the signs, the synchronicities, and the challenges that accompany this journey. We'll uncover why your career, relationships, passions, and even your daily habits may shift unexpectedly. And most importantly, we'll reveal how to navigate this transformation with awareness, courage, and a sense of wonder. For now, ask yourself this: what if the life you've been living is only a prelude? What if the meeting that feels so ordinary is actually the catalyst for extraordinary change? The moment everything changes is here. The journey begins with awareness, and it begins with you. If the previous part made you feel a shiver down your spine, or sparked a sudden recognition of moments in your own life, you're not alone. Many people experience a quiet, persistent shift that begins long before they even meet their twin flame. But what exactly is twin flame activation? And why does it have such a dramatic effect on the lives of those it touches? At its core, twin flame activation is not just about meeting another person. It is a soul-level awakening, a process that realigns your energy, your consciousness, and your sense of purpose. To put it simply, a twin flame is not just your partner. They are a mirror reflecting the deepest parts of yourself, the light and the shadow, the potential you have yet to unlock. An activation occurs when the encounter triggers the full awareness of this reflection. Think about it like a spark hitting dry kindling. At first, it might seem small, almost insignificant, a fleeting feeling, a momentary connection, a strange sense of familiarity. But that spark has the potential to ignite a blaze that illuminates every corner of your inner world. Twin flame activation is that spark. It is subtle yet powerful. It is intimate yet universal. And most importantly, it is transformative. The subtle signs of activation. Before the dramatic life shifts occur, the 180-degree change we often hear about, there are subtle signs. You may not notice them immediately, but in hindsight, they are unmistakable. Some of these include: 1. Heightened intuition. You suddenly sense things before they happen. You can read people's emotions with more clarity. You may even have vivid dreams that feel like premonitions or messages. Have you ever woken up with a gut feeling you couldn't explain, only to realize later it was true? That is your intuitive self being stirred by twin flame energy. 2. Emotional surges. Tiny events can trigger massive emotional responses. Joy, sorrow, longing, or excitement become more intense. You may find yourself crying over a song, laughing uncontrollably at a simple joke, or feeling a wave of sadness without reason. These emotional surges are your soul recalibrating, releasing old patterns and making space for higher vibrational energy. 3. Synchronicities. Suddenly, coincidences stop being coincidences. You notice repeating numbers, songs, or situations that seem to confirm you are on the right path. That friend who calls just when you needed guidance. That book that appears on your shelf exactly when you are seeking answers. These synchronistic events are gentle nudges from the universe, guiding you toward alignment with your twin flame journey. 4. Restlessness or dissatisfaction. What once felt comfortable may now feel confining. You may question your career, your relationships, your life choices. Even long-held beliefs may start to feel hollow. This is a sign that your energy is no longer satisfied with the old life. You are being prepared to step into something greater. Why does activation happen? You might ask, why me? Why now? Why this person? These questions are natural, and the answers lie in the nature of twin flame connections. Unlike karmic or soulmate relationships, which are meant to teach lessons or provide companionship, twin flames are here to awaken and evolve each other at a profound level. Activation is less about the other person and more about you stepping into your own full potential. Your twin flame acts as a catalyst, a mirror, and sometimes even a challenge. Their presence triggers all that you have suppressed, all that you have avoided, and all that you are ready to transform. Think of it as a spiritual boot camp. Every encounter, conversation, and emotional reaction is designed to help you grow faster than ordinary life experiences could. The mirror effect. One of the most fascinating aspects of twin flame activation is the mirror effect. You see, your twin flame will reflect both your highest potential and your deepest shadows. This can be breathtakingly beautiful, but also intensely challenging. For example, imagine someone who has always struggled with self-worth. Meeting their twin flame might trigger a combination of admiration and insecurity. The admiration sparks inspiration. If they see this greatness in me, maybe I can truly be that person. The insecurity triggers introspection. Why do I feel unworthy? What am I holding on to that prevents me from fully embracing this connection? This mirror effect is not punishment. It is a tool for awakening. It forces you to confront the layers of your identity that you may have ignored or suppressed. And once you confront them, you are free to release the old patterns and step into a more authentic version of yourself. Activation is not instantaneous. It's important to understand that twin flame activation is rarely instant or easy. The initial encounter may feel electrifying, but the true activation unfolds over time. You may experience cycles of closeness and distance, intense emotional highs and lows, and periods of deep introspection. This is sometimes referred to as the runner and chaser dynamic, a phenomenon where one or both twin flames feel compelled to retreat and reflect before fully integrating the awakening. These cycles are natural and necessary. They allow each individual to assimilate the energy, heal unresolved wounds, and prepare for the deeper levels of connection. How activation changes your life. Once activation takes hold, the transformation can be profound. Emotional evolution. You start experiencing emotions more deeply and authentically. Emotional resilience improves because you are learning to navigate intense energies consciously. Shift in relationships. Ordinary friendships and relationships may fall away, while connections that truly resonate with your new energy strengthen. You may also find yourself drawn to people who support your growth rather than drain it. Career and passion realignment. Work that once seemed important may lose its appeal. You may feel called to pursue creative endeavors, humanitarian work, or a career that aligns with your purpose. Spiritual awareness. Your sense of self expands beyond the material. You become more attuned to energy, intuition, and synchronicity. Meditation, mindfulness, and soul work become not just practices, but necessities. Inner transformation. Ultimately, you are no longer the person you were before. Your priorities, perspectives, and even your identity evolve. You start living in alignment with your higher self, making choices that reflect your authentic soul, rather than external expectations. A real-life illustration. Consider Emma, a 29-year-old graphic designer. 4 years she lived a structured, predictable life, good job, supportive friends, stable routine. But deep inside she felt unfulfilled. Then she met Alex, someone she barely knew at first. From the very first conversation, Emma felt seen in a way she never had before. Almost immediately, Emma noticed subtle changes. She began exploring art styles she had ignored, questioning her corporate career path, and even reevaluating friendships that no longer resonated. Over months, she experienced intense emotional swings, moments of clarity, and synchronicities guiding her to new opportunities. By the end of the year, she had changed jobs, started a personal art project, and embraced practices like meditation and journaling. Emma's life had shifted 180 degrees, all sparked by the presence of her twin flame. The takeaway: twin flame activation is not about dependency, obsession, or romantic fantasy. It is about awakening to your own soul's potential. It is a profound process of transformation that can touch every aspect of your life: emotional, relational, professional, and spiritual. So the next time you feel an unexplained surge of emotion, a sudden shift in priorities, or a compelling pull towards someone who seems to know your soul, ask yourself, could this be the spark of twin flame activation? Because if it is, your life is about to enter a new dimension. The reset has begun. The journey has started. And everything you once knew about yourself and the world around you is ready to be reborn. When we talk about twin flame activation, we often focus on the spiritual awakening, the intuitive nudges, or the synchronicities that guide us. But one of the most profound, and sometimes most challenging changes occurs on the emotional level. After meeting a twin flame, your feelings themselves seem to undergo a radical transformation. Emotions that once felt familiar now feel amplified, and previously suppressed feelings rise to the surface, demanding attention. This is what we call the emotional reset. It's as if your entire emotional landscape is being rewritten. And unlike typical relationship experiences, this reset is not just about love or attraction. It's about reclaiming your authentic emotional self. Why the emotional reset happens. To understand why your emotions shift so dramatically, think back to the mirror effect we discussed in Chapter 2. Your twin flame reflects not only your potential, but also your deepest shadows. And the moment your soul recognizes this reflection, it triggers a response. Joy and expansion. You feel immense excitement, a sense of possibility, and a deep resonance that reminds you of your inner truth. Fear and resistance. You may also feel fear, doubt, or anxiety because the activation exposes insecurities and unresolved wounds. Release and healing. Finally, the intensity of these emotions pushes you to confront, release, and integrate old patterns. In essence, the emotional reset is a process of purification. The old emotional habits, attachments, and limiting beliefs are dismantled so that your heart can operate at a higher, more aligned frequency. The layers of emotional transformation. The emotional reset occurs in layers, often overlapping and repeating until full integration is achieved. Here's what typically unfolds. 1. Initial shock and intensity. The first interactions with your twin flame often produce emotions that are startling in their intensity. One day you may feel euphoric, completely alive, vibrant, and understood in a way you never have been. The next, a sudden wave of sadness, longing, or confusion may hit, seemingly out of nowhere. For example, consider Liam, who met his twin flame at a workshop. The first conversation left him exhilarated, his chest buzzing with energy. Yet, later that evening, he experienced an inexplicable sadness, as if old emotional wounds had been stirred. This push and pull is common and signals that your emotional system is being rebalanced. 2. Mirror-induced healing. As your twin flame reflects your inner self, buried emotions surface. Anger, resentment, insecurity, or grief that you may have ignored or suppressed now demand acknowledgement. Think of it like peeling layers of an onion. At first, the layers are thin and easy to remove. But as you go deeper, the process becomes more intense and tears may flow. These emotional breakthroughs are essential. They clear the way for more authentic emotional expression and connection. 3. Empathy and emotional expansion. Many people notice that after activation, their capacity for empathy skyrockets. You may feel the emotions of others more acutely, even strangers. A friend's sadness might trigger deep compassion, or a scene in a movie might move you to tears. This heightened emotional sensitivity is a hallmark of twin flame activation. It's as if the emotional reset expands your heart, allowing you to experience life with richer, fuller feelings. You are no longer just reacting, you are feeling consciously. 4. Emotional clarity and authenticity. One of the most empowering outcomes of the emotional reset is clarity. You start to distinguish between emotions that are authentic and those conditioned by society, family, or past experiences. You may realize that what you once thought was love was actually neediness or fear. What you thought was happiness was comfort or habit. Through this process, your emotional compass realigns. You learn to trust your feelings as true indicators of what resonates with your soul, rather than external expectations. Examples of emotional shifts. Let's explore some real-life scenarios to illustrate the emotional reset. Emma's transformation. Emma, introduced in Chapter 2, initially felt exhilarated by her twin flame connection. Yet within weeks, she experienced intense anxiety, questioning her past choices and relationships. Over time, these emotions guided her to heal old heartbreaks and release toxic attachments. By the end of her first year, she reported feeling emotionally freer and more grounded than ever. Jordan's awakening. Jordan, a corporate lawyer, felt a rush of clarity and purpose after meeting his twin flame. Simultaneously, he experienced grief over relationships he had taken for granted. The emotional reset forced him to reevaluate friendships, prioritize authentic connections, and make life choices that aligned with his heart, not just his mind. Sophia's depth. Sophia, an artist, noticed that after her activation, she could feel the emotions of people she had never met. She would cry during performances, empathize deeply with clients, and feel waves of collective energy in public spaces. This emotional expansion became a source of creative inspiration and spiritual growth. Common challenges during emotional reset. While the emotional reset is transformative, it is not always easy. Many people face challenges such as emotional overwhelm. The intensity can feel like riding a roller coaster without brakes. Panic, confusion, or even despair may arise. Fear of losing control. You may fear that your emotions are controlling you rather than the other way around. Isolation. As your emotional frequency changes, some friends or relationships may no longer resonate, leading to a sense of loneliness. Impatience. You may want to rush the process or demand immediate answers, but emotional integration takes time and patience. The key is awareness and self-compassion. Understand that every emotional wave is part of the activation process. Instead of resisting, allow yourself to feel deeply, journal your experiences, and practice mindfulness to navigate the intensity. Tools to navigate emotional reset. Here are practical ways to embrace the emotional reset without being overwhelmed. 1. Journaling. Documenting your emotional experiences helps clarify patterns, triggers, and breakthroughs. Ask yourself, what am I truly feeling? Why? What is this emotion teaching me? 2. Meditation and breathwork. These practices calm the nervous system and allow for conscious engagement with intense feelings. 3. Energy awareness. Notice how different interactions, environments, or activities affect your emotions. Limit what drains you and embrace what uplifts you. 4. Creative expression. Art, music, movement, or writing can act as outlets for the emotional energy surging through you. 5. Supportive community. Connect with others on similar spiritual journeys. Sharing experiences can normalize the intensity and provide guidance. The gift of emotional reset. Ultimately, the emotional reset is a gift disguised as challenge. While it can feel disruptive, it is paving the way for a life aligned with your true self. You are not losing control, you are reclaiming it. You are not breaking, you are becoming whole. You are not overwhelmed, you are expanding. After the emotional reset, you often notice greater emotional intelligence and self-awareness, deeper empathy and connection with others, a stronger alignment between your heart and your life choices, a sense of liberation from past conditioning and limitations. In short, you are being reborn emotionally, ready to navigate life with depth, clarity, and authenticity. Reflection questions for viewers. To help internalize this chapter, consider asking yourself, which emotions have I been suppressing or avoiding? In what ways have my relationships reflected old patterns or unhealed wounds? How can I embrace my feelings as guides rather than obstacles? What would my life look like if I allowed myself to feel fully and authentically? These questions are not meant to be answered immediately. They are seeds for reflection, dialogue, and transformation. The emotional reset is the heart of twin flame activation. It touches every part of your being, waking you up, reshaping your relationships, and guiding you toward your authentic self. While the journey can be intense, it is also profoundly rewarding. The emotions you experience are not random. They are messages from your soul, pushing you toward alignment and growth. As we move into the next chapter, we will explore how this emotional shift affects your relationships and interactions with the world, how the reset ripples outward, touching your work, passions, and daily life in ways you may never have anticipated. Your heart has been awakened. Your emotions have been stirred. And now, the world around you is beginning to mirror the transformation within. After experiencing the emotional reset of a twin flame activation, many people notice an unexpected, profound transformation in their relationships. It's as if the presence of your twin flame acts as a magnifying glass, illuminating the dynamics of every connection in your life: friendships, family ties, romantic partnerships, and even professional interactions. Suddenly, what once seemed stable may feel off balance, while relationships that were previously overlooked may bloom with newfound depth. This chapter explores why and how your relationships change, and how to navigate this ripple effect without feeling lost or isolated. The nature of relationship shifts. One of the first things people notice after a twin flame encounter is that old relationships no longer feel the same. This happens for several reasons. 1. Energy alignment. Your vibration and energy frequency begin to rise after activation. People who resonate with your new frequency naturally gravitate toward you, while those who do not may drift away. This isn't rejection, it's alignment. 2. Mirror effect. Just as your twin flame mirrors your inner self, your other relationships now act as mirrors too. They reveal patterns you've repeated for years: dependency, fear, avoidance, or unhealed trauma. 3. Prioritization of authenticity. As your emotional reset encourages authenticity, you become less tolerant of superficiality, negativity, or drama. Relationships that once felt comfortable may suddenly feel draining or misaligned. Family dynamics. Family relationships often undergo subtle yet powerful shifts. You may notice reevaluation of roles. Childhood dynamics or long-standing family roles may feel restrictive. For instance, the people-pleaser child may now set boundaries, while the caretaker may seek independence. Healing opportunities. Old wounds, resentments, misunderstandings, or unspoken tensions often surface, offering a chance for resolution and growth. Resistance and misunderstanding. Family members may not immediately understand your transformation. Some may resist your changes, feeling threatened by your newfound independence or emotional depth. For example, Mia, a 32-year-old teacher, noticed that after meeting her twin flame, she could no longer tolerate her family's constant criticism. Instead of retreating, she began asserting her boundaries, communicating openly, and seeking healthier ways to interact. While this caused temporary tension, it ultimately deepened her relationships and allowed her family to see her authentic self for the first time. Friendships. Friendships also undergo significant transformation. Shifts in connection. Friends who thrived on casual interactions or superficial conversations may feel distant. Conversely, friends who resonate with your new energy often become closer, forming deeper, more meaningful bonds. New social circles. Many people find themselves naturally drawn to communities aligned with their spiritual awakening, twin flame journey, or personal growth path. Selective energy investment. Post-activation, you become more selective about where you invest your emotional energy. You may prioritize quality over quantity, choosing relationships that uplift, inspire, and challenge you in positive ways. Take Alex, a software engineer, for instance. After his twin flame activation, he noticed he no longer enjoyed hanging out with a group of old friends who thrived on gossip and drama. He felt drained after every gathering. Slowly, he gravitated toward a smaller circle of friends who shared his interest in mindfulness, creativity, and personal growth. The change felt difficult at first, but it ultimately brought him deeper satisfaction and connection. Romantic relationships. Romantic relationships are perhaps the most dramatically affected. 1. Existing partnerships. If you are already in a romantic relationship, you may find yourself questioning compatibility, intimacy, or alignment with your partner. This does not necessarily mean ending the relationship, but it does require honest evaluation. Some partnerships evolve, while others may naturally dissolve. 2. Attraction to your twin flame. If you meet your twin flame while in another relationship, the emotional intensity can create confusion. It is essential to approach the situation with self-awareness, compassion, and honesty, both for yourself and the people involved. 3. Healing patterns. Your twin flame will trigger unresolved patterns from past relationships, giving you an opportunity to heal and release. These moments of discomfort are not punishment. They are teaching tools designed to guide you toward healthier, more authentic connections. Consider Sophia, a marketing consultant. She had been in a stable relationship for years, but felt a growing sense of restlessness after meeting her twin flame. The encounter triggered reflections on unmet needs, suppressed desires, and emotional disconnect. Through introspection and communication, she gained clarity about her heart's true desires, ultimately leading to personal growth and healthier future partnerships. Professional and social relationships. Even work and social interactions can feel different. Career realignment. As your energy shifts, you may find yourself drawn to work that aligns more closely with your soul's purpose. You might seek projects that offer creativity, service, or personal fulfillment over status or financial gain. Boundary redefinition. You become more aware of workplace dynamics and learn to set boundaries with colleagues or clients who drain your energy. New collaborations. The emotional clarity and authenticity you gain often attract like-minded collaborators or mentors, opening doors to new opportunities that were previously invisible. For instance, Liam, the lawyer we discussed in Chapter 3, found that after his twin flame activation, he no longer enjoyed high-pressure corporate cases that had defined his career. He gradually shifted toward pro bono work and community projects, where he felt a sense of purpose and alignment. His colleagues initially questioned the change, but he eventually attracted new professional relationships that resonated with his renewed energy. Navigating challenges in relationship shifts. The transformation of relationships is not always smooth. Challenges may arise, such as feelings of isolation. Losing connections that once felt comfortable can create loneliness. It's crucial to remember that this space is necessary for growth and realignment. Misunderstanding by others. Friends, family, or colleagues may not understand the emotional intensity you are experiencing. Patience and clear communication are essential. Internal conflict. You may struggle between old attachments and new desires. Journaling, meditation, and energy work can help you navigate these inner conflicts. Integration time. Relationships do not instantly transform. Allow time for yourself and others to adjust to your new emotional, spiritual, and energetic alignment. Practical tips for navigating relationship shifts. 1. Self-awareness. Pay attention to your feelings, triggers, and patterns. Ask yourself, which relationships are aligned with my highest self? Which ones drain my energy? 2. Honest communication. Be open with those you care about. Express your needs, boundaries, and intentions without judgment or blame. 3. Embrace change. Understand that some relationships will naturally fade while new ones will emerge. Letting go is part of the process. 4. Seek support. Engage with communities or mentors who understand the twin flame journey. They can provide guidance, validation, and encouragement. 5. Practice compassion. Remember, your transformation may be challenging for others as well. Approach changes with empathy, patience, and understanding. The gift within relationship shifts. Despite the challenges, the transformation of your relationships is a powerful gift. Authentic connections. You learn to attract and maintain relationships that are genuine, nurturing, and aligned with your soul's purpose. Personal growth. Every interaction becomes an opportunity for self-reflection, healing, and emotional expansion. Enhanced emotional intelligence. By navigating the complexities of shifted relationships, your empathy, intuition, and communication skills deepen. Alignment with life purpose. The ripple effect of twin flame activation ensures that your outer world begins to reflect your inner transformation. Relationships become mirrors of your evolving self, guiding you toward the life you were meant to live. Reflection questions for viewers. To help process this chapter, consider these questions. Which relationships in my life feel misaligned or draining after my twin flame encounter? How have my friendships, family ties, and professional connections evolved since my activation? Am I willing to set boundaries and let go of what no longer serves me? Which relationships now resonate with my authentic self and support my growth? These reflections are essential for understanding the ripple effect of twin flame activation and embracing the transformative power of relational shifts. The changes in your relationships after meeting a twin flame are not accidental. They are a natural reflection of your evolving energy, emotional clarity, and soul alignment. While these shifts can be challenging, they ultimately guide you toward deeper authenticity, meaningful connections, and a life more aligned with your true self. The ripple effect touches every corner of your world: family, friends, romantic partners, and even professional networks. Your task is not to resist these shifts but to embrace them, allowing your heart and soul to lead the way. As we move into the next chapter, we will explore how twin flame activation affects your passions, career, and life purpose, revealing how this inner transformation begins to reshape your external reality in profound ways. After the emotional reset and the shifts in relationships, the next ripple effect of a twin flame activation is perhaps the most profound: the transformation of your life path and passions. When a twin flame enters your life, it's as if a switch is flipped, not just in your heart, but in your sense of direction, your ambitions, and the very way you perceive your potential. Many people describe this stage as a feeling of sudden clarity, a moment where they recognize that the life they were living no longer aligns with their inner truth. The career they once devoted themselves to, the hobbies they once enjoyed, and even the lifestyle they considered ideal may suddenly feel hollow or limiting. The mechanism of life path transformation. Why does this happen? It all comes down to alignment with your authentic self. When your twin flame activates your energy, they act as a mirror, reflecting both your hidden potential and your deepest desires. This reflection often reveals discrepancies between who you are becoming and the life you've been living. It can awaken you to passions and paths you had ignored, suppressed, or never realized existed. For example, a corporate professional may suddenly feel drawn to creative pursuits or humanitarian work. Someone who pursued stability over passion may feel compelled to explore travel, entrepreneurship, or artistic expression. Long-standing dreams that were previously dismissed as unrealistic suddenly resurface with urgency. This transformation is not superficial. It is soul-level recalibration, guiding you toward a life that is more aligned with your purpose, joy, and growth. Passions rekindled. Many people report that after meeting their twin flame, they reconnect with passions they had long abandoned. These passions can manifest in various ways. 1. Creative awakening. Art, music, writing, or other creative outlets may take on new meaning. Your self-expression becomes a conduit for energy, healing, and inspiration. 2. Spiritual or personal growth. Practices like meditation, yoga, energy work, or study of esoteric knowledge may suddenly feel irresistible. The twin flame acts as a catalyst for deeper self-awareness and exploration. 3. Service-oriented activities. Some feel a newfound drive to help others, whether through volunteering, mentoring, or community initiatives. Your sense of purpose expands beyond yourself, aligning with a larger collective mission. Take Jordan, introduced in Chapter 3, for instance. He was a high-powered corporate lawyer, focused solely on career advancement. After meeting his twin flame, he felt an undeniable pull toward pro bono work and social justice initiatives. At first, the change was uncomfortable. Leaving the familiar behind always is, but he ultimately discovered fulfillment and meaning he had never experienced in his corporate role. The career shift. Twin flame activation often triggers career reevaluation. People begin asking deeper questions. Am I pursuing this work out of genuine passion, or merely out of habit or societal expectation? Does my career align with my authentic self? How can I contribute to the world in a way that reflects my inner truth? This stage can lead to radical career shifts, resignations, entrepreneurial ventures, creative endeavors, or new educational pursuits. While these changes can feel risky, they are guided by a deeper sense of alignment that often leads to greater long-term fulfillment. Consider Emma, our earlier example. She had been working in a corporate design agency for years. After her twin flame encounter, she realized her creativity had been constrained by deadlines and client expectations. Slowly, she began freelancing and exploring experimental art projects. Her income initially fluctuated, but the satisfaction, joy, and sense of purpose she gained far outweighed any financial uncertainty. The intersection of passion and purpose. One of the most fascinating outcomes of twin flame activation is the intersection between passion and purpose. Suddenly, activities you genuinely enjoy also seem to serve a greater mission. Your hobbies, skills, and talents become tools not just for personal enjoyment, but for impact, connection, and transformation. For instance, a musician may discover that their music has therapeutic effects, helping listeners process emotions or heal from trauma. An entrepreneur may realize that their business can solve real-world problems while supporting their values and personal growth. A writer may uncover that storytelling becomes a vehicle to inspire self-discovery and consciousness in others. This alignment is a hallmark of life after twin flame activation. You are living in resonance with your soul's calling, and your passions naturally serve a higher purpose. Rediscovering forgotten dreams. Twin flame encounters often awaken long-forgotten dreams. Childhood ambitions, long-suppressed talents, or ideas dismissed as impossible suddenly resurface with a renewed sense of urgency. These dreams often represent paths your soul has been longing to explore. For example, Sophia, our artist from Chapter 4, had always loved painting but abandoned it for a conventional career. After her twin flame activation, she felt compelled to return to her canvas. What started as a hobby soon evolved into exhibitions, collaborations, and teaching art workshops. Her creative expression not only fulfilled her personal desires, but also impacted the lives of those around her. Challenges in life path transformation. While the transformation of passions and life direction is exciting, it is not without challenges. 1. Fear of uncertainty. Abandoning familiar routines, jobs, or comfort zones can provoke anxiety. Questions like, "What if I fail?" or "What if I lose security?" are natural. 2. External judgment. Friends, family, or colleagues may not understand sudden shifts. Resistance or skepticism can occur. 3. Integration over time. Aligning your passions with your life path is a gradual process. The emotional intensity, doubts, and trial and error are part of the journey. The key is to trust your inner guidance and lean into the impulses and inspirations awakened by your twin flame encounter. Practical steps to align life path and passions. 1. Reflect on core values. Identify what truly matters to you beyond societal expectations or past habits. 2. Follow intuition. Pay attention to impulses, ideas, or opportunities that spark excitement and curiosity. 3. Take small steps. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. Begin with small experiments or side projects that align with your new passions. 4. Embrace learning. Pursue education, mentorship, or skill building that supports your evolving path. 5. Integrate self-care. Transformations can be intense. Practices like meditation, journaling, or energy work help maintain balance and clarity. The gift of transformation. The ultimate gift of twin flame activation is that it aligns your external life with your internal awakening. Your passions, purpose, and career no longer exist separately. They harmonize with your soul's calling. This transformation creates a life that is not only more fulfilling, but also more authentic, inspired, and impactful. After activation, you may notice a sense of flow in your daily activities, greater clarity about your goals and priorities, a natural alignment between what you love and what you do, increased fulfillment and joy in work and creative pursuits. In short, twin flame activation does not just reset your emotions and relationships, it reorients your entire life trajectory, guiding you toward a path that resonates deeply with who you truly are. Reflection questions for viewers. What passions or dreams have I abandoned that are resurfacing now? How aligned is my current life path with my authentic self? What small steps can I take today to bring my passions closer to my purpose? Am I open to the opportunities and synchronicities that may be guiding me toward my soul's calling? These questions invite reflection and action, helping you integrate the transformation sparked by your twin flame encounter. Twin flame activation is a profound catalyst for life path and passion realignment. It awakens dormant dreams, ignites purpose-driven action, and aligns your external reality with your inner truth. While the process can be challenging, it ultimately leads to a life of authenticity, fulfillment, and meaningful contribution. The ripple effects of your activation are far-reaching. They touch your emotions, relationships, and now your life path and passions. By embracing this transformation, you are not just living. You are awakening into your fullest potential, guided by the mirror and spark that your twin flame provides. After experiencing the emotional reset, the transformation of relationships, and the awakening of life purpose, the next ripple effect of twin flame activation often manifests in the subtle, yet profound changes in your daily life and habits. While the earlier stages may feel dramatic and intense, this phase is quieter, but no less powerful. It is where the activation becomes integrated into the fabric of your everyday existence, reshaping the mundane into a more aligned, conscious, and meaningful life. Even small habits, routines, and daily choices can be transformed when you are in resonance with your twin flame energy. Let's explore how these subtle shifts appear and why they matter. Heightened awareness of routine. One of the first changes many people notice is an acute awareness of their daily routines. What once felt automatic now feels conscious and intentional. You may start asking yourself questions such as, am I spending my time in ways that nourish my soul, or merely maintain comfort? Which habits serve my growth and which hold me back? How can I infuse more mindfulness and presence into my day? For instance, Emma, introduced in previous chapters, began noticing that her morning routine of rushing through breakfast and scrolling her phone left her feeling scattered. Inspired by the clarity brought by her twin flame activation, she replaced that habit with journaling, mindful tea rituals, and gentle movement. These small changes not only grounded her day, but also allowed her energy to remain calm and focused. Mindful consumption. Another common shift is awareness of what you consume, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Food and health. Many individuals start choosing nourishing foods, prioritizing hydration, and practicing moderation, understanding that their body is a vessel for higher energy. Media and information. There is often a shift toward consuming content that inspires, educates, or uplifts, while avoiding negativity, gossip, or emotionally draining news. Social energy. You may become more selective about the energy you allow into your space, gravitating toward people and environments that resonate with your authentic self. Alex, a software engineer, found that after his activation, he could no longer binge-watch mindless television or engage in energy-draining social media debates. Instead, he began reading spiritual texts, listening to motivational podcasts, and creating content that reflected his evolving self. This conscious consumption supported his emotional and spiritual growth. Shifts in daily priorities. With twin flame activation, priorities often shift from external validation to internal fulfillment. Where you once sought success, recognition, or approval, you now seek alignment, meaning, and joy. Time management. You may restructure your day to include practices that feed your soul: meditation, creative work, reflection, or meaningful social interactions. Energy allocation. Tasks and commitments that feel draining or inauthentic naturally fall away, while those that resonate with your true self gain priority. Life flow. There is a natural gravitation toward flow states, where your daily activities feel effortless, purposeful, and aligned. Sophia, the artist we followed through previous chapters, began noticing that work tasks that once demanded her attention without joy now felt burdensome. In contrast, activities that aligned with her creativity and soul purpose, painting, teaching workshops, collaborating with like-minded artists, became central to her daily life. Heightened sensitivity and intuition. One of the most subtle yet profound changes in daily life is enhanced intuition and energy sensitivity. You may notice shifts in mood or energy in environments before consciously registering them. Decisions, big or small, may be guided by a gut feeling or inner knowing rather than logic alone. You may sense the emotions of others more acutely, sometimes anticipating conflicts, joys, or opportunities before they arise. This heightened sensitivity allows for more aligned decision-making, as daily choices increasingly reflect your soul's desires rather than external pressures. For example, Liam, the lawyer-turned-community advocate, began noticing that he instinctively knew which projects would bring him fulfillment and which would drain him. His enhanced intuition helped him make career and personal choices that aligned with his authentic path. Recalibration of habits and self-care. Twin flame activation often triggers a recalibration of self-care habits. Individuals may start to wake up earlier or structure their day around energy peaks rather than societal norms. Engage in physical activity, yoga, or movement that honors the body rather than punishes it. Prioritize mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being alongside physical health. This recalibration reflects a recognition that your energy, attention, and vitality are sacred resources, not to be wasted on misaligned or draining pursuits. Daily mindset and perspective shifts. Beyond routines and habits, your perspective on life itself transforms. You may approach challenges with curiosity and growth-mindedness, rather than fear or resistance. Gratitude becomes a natural daily practice, rather than a forced ritual. Moments of synchronicity, coincidence, or subtle guidance from the universe become more noticeable and meaningful. For instance, Jordan, after his activation, began noting small signs of divine timing in his day-to-day experiences, meeting the right mentor at the perfect time, discovering solutions to problems serendipitously, or encountering inspiration exactly when needed. These subtle experiences reinforced his trust in the universe and his alignment with life's flow. Social and environmental shifts. Another ripple effect is changing environments and social circles. You may seek out spaces, physical, virtual, or communal, that support your evolving energy. Relationships that no longer serve your growth may naturally drift away, creating space for new, more resonant connections. Even your living environment may shift towards simplicity, light, or spaces that promote clarity and focus. Sophia reorganized her studio to create a sacred space for creativity, meditation, and reflection, noticing that the physical environment directly influenced her energy and productivity. Challenges of daily life transformation. Despite the subtlety of these changes, they can present challenges. 1. Adjustment period. Your friends, family, and colleagues may not understand your new habits, leading to feelings of isolation or tension. 2. Consistency struggles. Integrating new routines, practices, and habits requires patience and self-compassion. 3. Overwhelm. Heightened sensitivity can make everyday life feel intense, requiring grounding and energy management. The key is balance and mindfulness, honoring your transformation while remaining compassionate toward yourself and those around you. Practical tips for integrating daily life changes. 1. Start small. Introduce one aligned habit at a time, whether it's a morning ritual, journaling, or conscious movement. 2. Observe and adjust. Notice how new practices affect your energy, mood, and alignment, then refine accordingly. 3. Ground yourself. Use meditation, breathwork, or nature walks to stabilize your energy amidst increased sensitivity. 4. Celebrate progress. Recognize that even small shifts accumulate, transforming your life incrementally yet profoundly. 5. Stay connected to purpose. Remind yourself why these changes matter, linking habits to your greater soul alignment and growth. The gift of daily transformation. By integrating the subtle shifts of twin flame activation into your daily life, you enhance alignment between your inner energy and your external reality, increase mindfulness, presence, and conscious choice-making, deepen connection to yourself, your twin flame, and the world around you. Experience the ongoing ripple effect of activation in every moment, turning the mundane into sacred opportunity. Even the smallest acts, waking with intention, choosing nourishing foods, or pausing to feel gratitude, become expressions of your higher alignment. Your daily life transforms not through dramatic gestures, but through consistent, conscious living. Reflection questions for viewers. Which small habits or routines no longer serve my growth or alignment? How can I infuse more mindfulness and purpose into daily activities? Which daily practices nourish my mind, body, and soul in alignment with my twin flame activation? How can I create a living environment that supports my evolving energy and focus? Reflecting on these questions allows you to turn everyday life into a living laboratory for transformation, reinforcing the lessons and activations triggered by your twin flame connection. Twin flame activation is not only a cosmic, emotional, or spiritual event. It is a living, breathing transformation that permeates your daily life. Your routines, habits, energy management, and mindset all shift to support your growth, alignment, and authentic expression. While these changes may be subtle, their cumulative effect is profound. Your life begins to feel more intentional, aligned, and harmonious. The small daily choices you make, guided by intuition, awareness, and your evolving energy, create a ripple effect that touches every aspect of your existence. In the next chapter, we will explore how twin flame activation reshapes your sense of time, synchronicity, and divine guidance, revealing how these subtle yet powerful forces orchestrate your life in alignment with your highest potential. As your twin flame activation deepens, another profound shift occurs. Your perception of time, synchronicity, and divine guidance begins to change. Life no longer feels linear, predictable, or solely within your control. Instead, it begins to flow according to an unseen rhythm, a subtle orchestration that aligns your experiences, encounters, and opportunities with your soul's growth and your twin flame journey. This chapter explores how twin flames transform the way you experience time, perceive synchronicities, and recognize divine guidance in your daily life. The fluidity of time. One of the most common experiences after a twin flame encounter is a shift in how you perceive time. What once felt urgent, rigid, or measured by schedules now appears flexible, expansive, and meaningful in entirely new ways. Present moment awareness. You begin to notice the richness of the present moment rather than constantly focusing on the past or future. Time slows down, allowing you to fully experience each interaction, thought, or sensation. Cycles and rhythms. Life starts to feel cyclical rather than strictly linear. Patterns emerge, lessons repeat, and growth occurs in a rhythmic ebb and flow rather than in straight progression. Patience and trust. The sense of urgency that dominated your previous approach to life often softens. You understand that events unfold according to divine timing, not merely human schedules. For example, Mia, the teacher from Chapter 4, used to worry about falling behind in her career and personal life. After her twin flame encounter, she noticed that her perspective on deadlines, opportunities, and growth shifted. She began to trust that the right people, projects, and lessons would arrive when needed, reducing stress and increasing clarity. Synchronicity as a guiding force. Twin flame activation heightens awareness of synchronicities, those meaningful coincidences that seem too precise to be random. These experiences often serve as signals or confirmations from the universe, guiding you along your path and helping you navigate the complexities of relationships, purpose, and self-discovery. Synchronicities may manifest as repeated numbers, seeing patterns like 111, 222, or 333 in clocks, addresses, or receipts, often signaling alignment or guidance. Chance encounters, meeting someone unexpectedly who provides key insight, support, or connection. Dreams and intuition, receiving guidance through vivid dreams, intuitive nudges, or premonitions. Unexpected opportunities, doors opening seemingly out of nowhere, aligning perfectly with your personal growth or life path. Jordan, the lawyer-turned-activist, frequently experienced synchronicities after his twin flame activation. One day, he randomly chose to attend a community event and met a mentor who would later guide him toward a life-changing career shift. Later, repeating sequences of numbers and subtle signs confirmed he was on the right path, deepening his trust in divine timing. Heightened intuition and divine guidance. As synchronicities become more apparent, your intuition sharpens, and you begin to sense divine guidance more clearly. This can profoundly affect decisions, actions, and even minor daily choices. Decisions become flow-based. Instead of relying solely on logic or external advice, you increasingly rely on intuition and inner knowing. Recognizing subtle signs. Small nudges, coincidences, or repeated thoughts may carry important messages if you are tuned into them. Alignment with life purpose. Divine guidance often nudges you toward situations, people, or experiences that support your highest growth and twin flame journey. Sophia, the artist, experienced this when deciding whether to accept a gallery invitation abroad. Every practical reason suggested hesitation, yet a series of synchronicities, emails arriving at the perfect moment, conversations with trusted mentors, and intuitive gut feelings confirmed she should take the opportunity. The trip ultimately accelerated her growth and expanded her artistic and spiritual horizons. Time and relationships. Twin flame activation also reshapes how you perceive timing in relationships. You begin to understand that encounters happen in divine order. Meeting your twin flame, experiencing challenges, and navigating separations are not random. They follow a purposeful timeline designed for mutual growth. Patience is key. Trying to force progress in the relationship often leads to resistance or setbacks. Trusting divine timing allows events to unfold naturally. Cycles of connection and reflection. Moments of union, separation, and reflection often repeat in a rhythm that fosters emotional and spiritual evolution. Alex, the software engineer, learned this firsthand. After meeting his twin flame, he initially tried to accelerate the connection, feeling anxious about timing and missed opportunities. Over time, he realized that each encounter, pause, and reflection period was perfectly aligned to prepare both him and his twin flame for deeper connection. The role of awareness in daily life. Awareness is central to perceiving time, synchronicity, and divine guidance. Twin flame activation encourages mindful observation of life's subtleties, noticing patterns in conversations, decisions, and events, paying attention to recurring themes or challenges, recognizing when choices resonate deeply with your soul versus external pressures. Mia's daily journaling practice allowed her to track synchronicities, intuitive nudges, and timing patterns. Over months, she noticed that these occurrences were not random. They consistently guided her toward decisions that aligned with her growth, relationships, and purpose. Challenges in perception shifts. While the transformation in perception is profound, it can also present challenges. 1. Overinterpretation. Some may overanalyze coincidences or signs, seeking meaning in everything. Balance is key. 2. Impatience. Even with awareness, trusting divine timing requires patience and surrender. 3. Misalignment with others. People who are not experiencing similar shifts may fail to understand your sense of timing or synchronicity, causing frustration or misunderstanding. The solution lies in discernment and trust, recognizing true guidance versus projection, and surrendering control while remaining conscious of choices. Practical tips for embracing time and synchronicity shifts. 1. Maintain journals. Record synchronicities, repeated numbers, or intuitive nudges to recognize patterns over time. 2. Practice mindfulness. Meditation, breathwork, or mindful observation heightens sensitivity to divine timing. 3. Trust the flow. Resist the urge to force outcomes. Observe how events naturally unfold. 4. Reflect on lessons. Consider what each encounter, challenge, or coincidence teaches you. 5. Integrate patience. Understand that growth and connection happen in cycles, not on your schedule. The gift of divine timing. The transformation of perception around time and synchronicity is a profound gift. Greater trust in life. You begin to surrender to a higher intelligence guiding your experiences. Clarity in decisions. Intuition and subtle signs help you navigate choices aligned with your highest good. Reduce stress. Understanding that events unfold according to divine timing reduces anxiety and fear of missing out. Aligned relationships and opportunities. Your path, encounters, and partnerships reflect your authentic growth and purpose. Jordan, Mia, Sophia, and Alex all discovered that surrendering to divine timing did not diminish their agency. It enhanced it, allowing them to act with clarity, purpose, and alignment rather than desperation or control. Reflection questions for viewers. Which patterns or coincidences in my life might be guiding me toward growth or alignment? How can I cultivate trust in divine timing instead of forcing outcomes? In what ways has my perception of time shifted since my twin flame activation? How can I integrate mindfulness and observation to better recognize synchronicities and guidance? Reflecting on these questions helps strengthen your connection to divine timing and synchronicity, making your twin flame journey more harmonious and fulfilling. Twin flame activation transforms not just your emotions, relationships, and habits, but also your perception of time, synchronicity, and divine guidance. Life becomes a dynamic, flowing tapestry where events, encounters, and opportunities unfold in alignment with your soul's growth. By noticing patterns, trusting intuition, and surrendering to divine timing, you allow your life to unfold with clarity, purpose, and resonance. What may have once felt like chaos or randomness now reveals itself as a sacred orchestration, guiding you, your twin flame, and your life path toward alignment, fulfillment, and growth. The next chapter will delve into how twin flames awaken your emotional depth and spiritual resilience, exploring the profound internal shifts that accompany this cosmic connection. By the time your twin flame activation has transformed your emotions, habits, relationships, life purpose, and perception of time, a deeper, more profound shift begins to unfold: the awakening of emotional depth and spiritual resilience. This stage goes beyond external changes and daily routines. It touches the core of your being, reshaping how you process feelings, respond to challenges, and connect with the universe. Meeting your twin flame is often described as a mirror experience. They reflect your hidden wounds, unhealed trauma, and unresolved emotional patterns. While this can be initially challenging, it catalyzes emotional maturity and spiritual growth, allowing you to face your inner world with courage, compassion, and wisdom. Emotional depth. Feeling beyond the surface. Twin flame activation dramatically intensifies emotions. You may find that feelings are richer, more nuanced, and sometimes overwhelming. Joy feels more ecstatic, love more expansive, and grief more profound. This deep emotional awakening is not accidental, it serves a purpose. 1. Awareness of true emotions. Many people live much of their lives suppressing feelings or wearing emotional masks. A twin flame encounter breaks these barriers, allowing suppressed emotions to surface. 2. Healing through reflection. The intensity of connection with your twin flame often brings unresolved wounds into focus. This gives you an opportunity to process and release emotional baggage. 3. Expanded capacity for empathy. As you navigate these emotions, your ability to empathize with others, including your twin flame, deepens. You become more attuned to subtle emotional cues and energies. Take Alex, the software engineer, for example. Before meeting his twin flame, he was emotionally reserved, often avoiding vulnerability. The activation stirred latent grief, frustration, and longing, forcing him to confront these feelings head-on. Over time, he developed a profound capacity for emotional expression and intimacy, both with himself and others. Facing emotional triggers. A hallmark of twin flame activation is the emergence of emotional triggers. Situations that previously seemed trivial may provoke intense reactions. These triggers are not coincidences. They are mirrors of your unresolved internal patterns. Why triggers occur? Your twin flame reflects aspects of yourself you may not fully accept, highlighting areas where healing is needed. Opportunities for growth. Every triggered reaction is a doorway into self-awareness and transformation. Emotional mastery. By consciously observing and working through triggers, you gradually gain emotional resilience, learning to respond from a place of clarity rather than reactivity. Sophia, the artist, discovered that disagreements with her twin flame often triggered feelings of rejection and fear rooted in childhood experiences. Instead of pushing these emotions away, she chose to explore them, journaling and meditating daily. Through this process, she built emotional resilience and learned to communicate from a grounded, compassionate place. Spiritual resilience. Navigating challenges with grace. Twin flame activation also cultivates spiritual resilience, the ability to face life's challenges with trust, patience, and inner strength. 1. Enduring separation. Many twin flame connections involve periods of physical or emotional separation. These separations test patience, faith, and self-trust. Spiritual resilience allows you to navigate these periods without losing hope or falling into despair. 2. Balancing intensity. The energy between twin flames is often intense, sometimes overwhelming. Resilience helps you maintain stability while experiencing profound highs and lows. 3. Learning non-attachment. Spiritual resilience is closely linked with non-attachment, understanding that your worth and happiness are not solely dependent on external circumstances or your twin flame's presence. Jordan's experience illustrates this beautifully. During a prolonged separation from his twin flame, he initially felt despair and frustration. Over time, he cultivated daily practices, meditation, mindfulness, and journaling that strengthened his spiritual resilience. He learned that connection is not only about presence, but also about alignment, patience, and trust in the divine plan. The mirror effect and self-reflection. Twin flames act as mirrors, revealing both shadows and light. This reflective process fosters deep self-understanding. You begin to recognize patterns of thought, behavior, and emotional reactions that previously went unnoticed. Integration of shadows. By facing your darker aspects, fear, anger, insecurity, you can integrate them, rather than suppress or deny them. Amplification of strengths. Just as shadows are reflected, so are your strengths and gifts. Activation reveals your potential, inspiring growth and purpose. For example, Mia discovered through her twin flame relationship that she had a latent talent for intuitive guidance. Her partner's presence amplified this gift, helping her explore meditation, energy work, and spiritual mentorship. At the same time, the connection illuminated past fears of failure, giving her a chance to heal and integrate. Emotional alchemy, transforming pain into growth. A critical aspect of twin flame activation is emotional alchemy, the process of transforming intense emotions into higher states of awareness, love, and purpose. 1. Acknowledging feelings. Avoiding or dismissing emotions only delays growth. Emotional alchemy begins with acknowledgement. 2. Processing through reflection. Journaling, therapy, meditation, and energy practices help convert raw emotion into insight and wisdom. 3. Transcending the ego. Emotional alchemy encourages moving beyond reactive patterns, ego-based judgments, and attachment, fostering clarity and compassion. Alex applied emotional alchemy by reframing past career frustrations as lessons in resilience and self-discovery. Rather than feeling bitter about previous setbacks, he integrated the experiences into his journey, allowing him to navigate challenges with grace. The role of daily practices in emotional and spiritual growth. To sustain emotional depth and spiritual resilience, consistent daily practices are essential. Meditation and mindfulness cultivates presence, clarity, and the ability to observe emotions without being overwhelmed. Journaling provides insight into emotional patterns, triggers, and spiritual awakenings. Energy work practices such as chakra balancing, breath work, or Reiki help release emotional blocks and harmonize energy. Reflective dialogue, honest conversations with your twin flame or trusted confidants, facilitate understanding, empathy, and growth. Sophia incorporated all these practices into her daily routine. Over time, she noticed not only emotional stability, but also a deepening connection to her spiritual self, fostering resilience in all areas of life. Challenges of emotional and spiritual awakening. While the transformation is profound, it is not without difficulty. 1. Emotional overload. Intense feelings can feel overwhelming if not processed mindfully. 2. Fear of vulnerability. Opening fully to your emotions and your twin flame may trigger fear or past trauma. 3. Integration fatigue. Balancing new emotional and spiritual awareness with daily life requires patience and self-compassion. These challenges are part of the journey, signs that transformation is occurring at a deep, soul level. Practical tips for strengthening emotional depth and resilience. 1. Observe without judgment. Notice emotions and reactions without labeling them as good or bad. 2. Honor your process. Growth takes time. Allow yourself to feel and heal without pressure. 3. Seek support. Therapy, spiritual mentorship, or supportive communities can provide guidance and perspective. 4. Create sacred space. Dedicate time for reflection, meditation, and energy work. 5. Celebrate progress. Recognize small milestones in emotional awareness, resilience, and inner peace. The gift of emotional depth and spiritual resilience. By cultivating emotional depth and spiritual resilience, twin flame activation empowers you to experience love more fully and authentically, navigate life's challenges with courage and clarity, transform past wounds into wisdom and strength, deepen self-awareness and alignment with your soul's purpose. Ultimately, this phase enables you to stand firmly in your authenticity, emotionally mature, spiritually grounded, and ready to engage with the world from a place of inner strength and wisdom. Reflection questions for viewers. Which emotions am I avoiding that may be ready for healing? How do I currently respond to challenges, and how might I cultivate more resilience? What daily practices can support my emotional and spiritual growth? In what ways has my connection with my twin flame deepened my inner awareness and maturity? Answering these questions encourages active engagement with your inner evolution, reinforcing the lessons and gifts of twin flame activation. Twin flame activation is more than a romantic or spiritual experience. It is a journey into the depths of your own soul. By awakening emotional depth and spiritual resilience, you gain the tools to navigate life's intensity, transform challenges into growth, and cultivate a profound connection with yourself, your twin flame, and the universe. The next chapter will explore how twin flames catalyze personal empowerment and self-mastery, examining the ways in which this deep connection inspires courage, confidence, and authenticity in every aspect of life, becoming the strongest, most aligned version of yourself. By the time twin flame activation has reshaped your emotions, relationships, synchronicities, and spiritual depth, something extraordinary begins to happen inside you. You start noticing a new quality emerging: power. Not the loud, ego-driven kind of power. Not the power built on dominance or validation, but a quiet, steady, unshakable inner power that comes from knowing who you truly are. Twin flames don't just awaken your heart or spirit. They awaken your inner authority, your courage, your clarity, and your ability to stand firmly in your truth. This chapter explores how the twin flame encounter becomes a catalyst for personal empowerment and self-mastery, often in ways you never expected. The mirror that awakens your power. One of the most profound aspects of the twin flame connection is the mirroring effect. Your twin flame reflects your fears, your insecurities, your patterns, your potential, your inner strength. Through this reflection, you begin to see parts of yourself you were unaware of or too afraid to acknowledge. Most people spend years, even decades, avoiding the deepest parts of themselves. But your twin flame? They drag these truths into the light, willingly or unwillingly. This reflection forces you to ask, what have I been running from? What am I capable of if I stop doubting myself? Who am I beneath conditioning, expectations, and fear? This self-inquiry is uncomfortable at first, but it is the birthplace of empowerment. Facing your shadow equals reclaiming your power. Twin flame activation pushes all your shadows forward. Jealousy, fear of abandonment, lack of worthiness, fear of expressing yourself, fear of being too much or not enough. But here's the truth. You cannot master yourself until you meet your shadows. Most spiritual teachings avoid this, preferring love and light. Twin flame activation doesn't allow avoidance. You face your triggers, your childhood wounds, your emotional defense mechanisms, your unhealthy coping patterns. This is not punishment, this is purification. Your shadows are simply unintegrated parts of you waiting to be reclaimed. When you heal your shadow, you don't just gain clarity. You gain power because nothing scares you anymore. Not your emotions, not your wounds, not your story. You become someone who can sit in discomfort without collapsing. That is self-mastery. Self-empowerment through emotional autonomy. One of the most transformative gifts of twin flame activation is learning emotional sovereignty. At first, the intensity of the connection might make your emotions feel chaotic, but over time you learn to regulate your feelings, to soothe your inner child, to respond instead of react, to self-validate rather than seek validation, to find peace within instead of through the other. This is emotional autonomy, when your peace is no longer dependent on their presence. Paradoxically, the deeper the emotional bond becomes, the more independent and empowered you grow. This contradicts the common myth of twin flames being codependent. True twin flame activation leads to the opposite, emotional freedom. You love them, but you no longer need them to complete you. That shift alone can transform your entire life. Reclaiming your voice and truth. Most people shrink themselves to fit into family conditioning, cultural expectations, past relationships, societal norms, unspoken rules. Twin flame activation shatters these constraints. You begin to speak differently, more honestly, more boldly, more authentically, more vulnerably, more unapologetically. You stop minimizing your needs. You stop hiding your feelings. You stop silencing truths to keep others comfortable. You begin to realize, my voice matters. My truth matters. I matter. This newfound authenticity ripples into your career choices, your boundaries, your friendships, your spiritual path, your lifestyle. Empowerment begins with truth. Self-mastery begins with embodiment. The courage to make bold life changes. Because twin flames awaken your most authentic self, they naturally trigger massive shifts in your external world. Suddenly, you find the courage to leave jobs that drain your soul, end unhealthy relationships, pursue passions you once suppressed, move to new places, change your lifestyle, start a new business, express your creativity, break generational patterns. Why does this happen? Because twin flame energy magnifies the gap between your current life and your aligned life. You simply can't ignore it anymore. Many people describe this stage as a life audit. Everything that is out of alignment becomes unbearable. and everything that is truly meant for you becomes clearer than ever. Self-mastery through self-responsibility. One of the most underestimated aspects of twin flame activation is the rise of self-responsibility. At first, many people blame their twin flame for emotional turmoil. They triggered me. They abandoned me. They caused my pain. But as you evolve, you realize your emotions are your responsibility, not theirs. Your healing, also your responsibility. Your triggers, your responsibility. Your reactions, your responsibility. Your boundaries, your responsibility. This doesn't mean your twin flame is perfect. It means you stop giving your power away. Instead of "they hurt me," you begin saying, "This trigger is showing me a wound. This reaction is teaching me something. This pain is guiding me toward growth." Self-responsibility equals self-mastery. Self-mastery equals empowerment. Learning detachment without losing love. One of the hardest but most empowering lessons is detachment. Not detaching your heart, but detaching your identity from the outcome. You learn. You cannot force timing. You cannot control the other person's healing. You cannot manage their emotions. You cannot rush the journey. Instead, you learn to surrender control while maintaining love. This paradox, loving fully while letting go, is one of the highest forms of spiritual mastery. It brings peace. It brings clarity. It brings power, because you no longer fear loss. And someone who does not fear loss is someone who cannot be controlled. That is empowerment. You become the creator of your life. As empowerment grows, something extraordinary happens. You stop waiting. You stop hoping. You stop relying on fate. You start creating. You build your dreams. You pursue your purpose. You take aligned risks. You express your gifts. You step into leadership. Twin flames trigger you into self-mastery because they push you to remember. You are not a passenger in your life. You are the architect. And when you shift into this consciousness, your entire reality begins to change. Real stories, real transformations. Case 1. Emma's redirection. Emma was in a stable but unfulfilling corporate job. After meeting her twin flame, she could no longer ignore her calling to become a healer. First, she resisted. But the louder her inner voice became, the more she realized she was out of alignment. She eventually left her job and opened a holistic wellness studio. Today, she helps others awaken just as she did. Empowerment. Self-mastery. Alignment. Case 2. Daniel's breakthrough. Daniel's twin flame reflected his fear of intimacy and vulnerability. He always kept emotions locked away. Through their connection and the pain of separation, he learned emotional courage. He started therapy. He healed childhood wounds. He became emotionally open, grounded, and confident. His relationships improved. His career improved. His sense of self improved. This is what self-mastery looks like. Case 3. Lonnie's spiritual awakening. Lonnie had spent years seeking validation from others. Her twin flame connection triggered abandonment wounds, forcing her to build self-worth from within. She learned to meditate, journal, and heal her inner child. She no longer needed anyone to fill a void inside her. She became whole, empowered, unshakable. Twin flame activation didn't make her dependent. It made her sovereign. Reflection questions for viewers. Where am I still giving my power away? What parts of myself am I still hiding? What changes in my life am I afraid to make, even though I feel called to make them? Which patterns keep repeating? And what are they teaching me about self-mastery? How has meeting my twin flame pushed me toward a more authentic version of myself? True twin flame activation leads you back to yourself. Not a smaller, more dependent version of you, but a bolder, wiser, stronger, and more aligned version. Emotionally sovereign, spiritually grounded, mentally clear, creatively awakened, powerfully authentic. Twin flames do not give you power. They awaken the power already within you. The next chapter will explore how this transformation leads to mission alignment and soul purpose, and why your life path becomes clearer after meeting your twin flame. Becoming the person your soul always meant you to be. After the chaos, the awakening, the emotional storms, the quantum shifts, the shadow work, the empowerment, and the complete internal transformation, something miraculous begins to unfold. You enter a phase that many people never talk about, Yet it is one of the most profound stages of twin flame activation. Integration. The moment your soul starts weaving everything together into a new energetic blueprint. This is the stage where the new you begins to stabilize, where clarity replaces confusion, where purpose replaces chaos, where alignment replaces fear, and where the future begins to take shape. If previous chapters were about awakening, confronting, releasing, learning, and expanding, this chapter is about becoming the integrated version of you, the mission-led version of you, the version you were destined to embody. Integration. The fusion of all your transformations. Integration is not a single moment. It is a process, a recalibration of your emotional, mental, physical, and energetic bodies. You'll start noticing 1. Inner calm where there used to be panic. The anxiety that once consumed you softens. Your nervous system begins to settle. Your breath deepens. Everything feels less urgent. This is because your energy body has processed the intensity of earlier activation phases. 2. Clarity where there used to be confusion. The questions that once tormented you. Why did they trigger me? Why did meeting them change everything? What does this connection mean? Start answering themselves. Your mind and intuition begin to align. Thought and feeling move in harmony. 3. Stability where there used to be spiritual overwhelm. The spiritual synchronicities and energetic surges become easier to handle. You no longer feel like you're free-falling through awakening. You feel grounded. 4. Acceptance where there used to be resistance. You stop fighting your path. You stop forcing outcomes. You stop bargaining with the universe. You surrender, not out of defeat but out of wisdom. 5. Energetic integration. Your chakras feel aligned, your aura feels clearer, your intuition heightens. You feel like you are finally occupying your body with more presence than ever before. Integration is the moment your soul whispers, "You survived the fire. Now rise." You step into soul mission. Once you are grounded enough to embody your awakening, a new calling begins to emerge. A calling that was dormant within you until your twin flame activation unlocked it. This is your soul mission. Not a job, not a hobby, not a random interest, but a deep, powerful inner knowing that says, "This is what I was born to do." Twin flames share a mission. Not always in the same form, not always together physically, but always energetically aligned. Your mission might involve healing, teaching, creative expression, spiritual guidance, writing, entrepreneurship, activism, helping others awaken, transforming communities, innovating new systems, holding higher consciousness for the planet. Or it may be something uniquely yours. The form doesn't matter. The energy does. Your mission is the expression of your awakened soul. How the mission begins to reveal itself. During integration, you start feeling repeated nudges. Go this way. Try this. This feels aligned. This no longer fits. You may experience 1. New passions. Suddenly, you feel drawn to things you never cared about before. You might feel pulled toward healing modalities, creativity, mentoring, spirituality, or purpose-driven work. 2. Sudden disinterest in old patterns. Activities, environments, or relationships that were once comfortable now feel draining or meaningless. 3. Repeating signs from the universe. You'll see synchronicities aligned with your path. Words, numbers, symbols, opportunities, people, ideas, and they will appear consistently, unmistakably. 4. A sense of urgency. Not in a stressful way but in a soul-level way. Now is the time. 5. Increased intuition. You will feel guided, not by logic but by inner knowing. Becoming the new you. The new you isn't actually new. It is the real you. The version of you that existed beneath conditioning, fear, ego, and survival patterns. Twin flame activation doesn't change who you are. It removes everything you are not. Here's how the new you begins to show up. 1. You make aligned choices. You no longer choose what feels safe, what others expect, what avoids conflict, what keeps the peace. You choose what feels true, what aligns with your soul, what honors your path. What matches your evolution? The new you isn't afraid of discomfort. You're afraid of betraying yourself. 2. You hold boundaries with grace. Before twin flame activation, boundaries were difficult. You were afraid to disappoint others. You were afraid to be misunderstood. You were afraid to lose people. Now, you protect your peace like it's sacred because it is. You say, "This doesn't align with me. I need space. That doesn't feel right. I choose myself." Not with anger, but with clarity. 3. You're guided by intuition, not fear. Fear used to run your life. It made your decisions. It shaped your relationships. Controlled your future. Now intuition leads. You trust your energy, your inner voice, your signs, your sensations, your divine timing. The world feels less threatening because you've learned to trust yourself. 4. You embody emotional maturity. You no longer explode, collapse, panic, or chase validation. You've learned emotional regulation. You've built inner stability. You've developed self-awareness. You can sit with your emotions without being dominated by them. This is emotional mastery. 5. You become magnetic. When you integrate your awakening, you radiate a different frequency. People feel it. They're drawn to your energy. They trust you. They seek your presence. You become more confident, more grounded, more radiant, more authentic. This magnetism isn't superficial. It's energetic. The new you is not performing. The new you is aligned. 6. You walk your path without apology. You no longer shrink. You no longer dim your light. You no longer censor your truth. You walk your purpose boldly, even if others don't understand. Because you've learned that your soul doesn't need permission to evolve. How the twin flame connection evolves at this stage. Many people wonder, what happens with the twin flame connection after integration? Here is the honest answer. Once you integrate, the connection becomes more peaceful, balanced, and stable. Whether you are in union physically or not. Why? Because you no longer operate from need or fear. You operate from wholeness. This creates a new dynamic. 1. Energetic harmony. Your energies begin resonating with less interference. There is clarity, not chaos. 2. Emotional neutrality. You no longer panic over separation or cling to connection. You love without attachment. 3. Communication improves. You express yourself clearly. You listen without defensiveness. You speak truth without fear. 4. The connection deepens. Not through intensity but through maturity. 5. Union becomes possible. Because you are no longer seeking union from a place of lack. You are inviting it from a place of alignment. You become a lighthouse for others. Twin flame activation transforms you so profoundly that you eventually find yourself guiding, inspiring, or uplifting others. Not because you set out to, but because your presence becomes healing. People sense your integrity, wisdom, depth, clarity, energy, compassion. You become someone who illuminates the path simply by walking your own. This is part of your mission. This is part of the new you. Reflection questions for integration. What version of myself am I stepping into now? What energies or habits do I need to release to become this person? What mission or calling is beginning to reveal itself to me? How has my relationship with myself transformed since meeting my twin flame? What does alignment feel like in my body right now? Integration is the culmination of your transformation. It is the moment when you step into the fullness of who you are meant to be. Twin flame activation is not just about love. It is about awakening your soul's purpose. It is about becoming your highest self. It is about remembering your power, your truth, your light. You are not who you were before this connection. You are more. You are deeper. You are wiser. You are aligned. You have become the person your soul always intended you to be. This is your rebirth. This is your evolution. This is your mission. Now your journey truly begins.